Nick Caruso, you weren't quite in the Air Force, but at least you were a Marine. So, I mean, you have that going for you. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Wes. How are you?
I'm good. I love picking on other veterans. We can pick on each other, but anybody picks on us, like we beat their asses, right? I mean, is that safe to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will definitely give the Air Force the props of having the higher IQ. No, I think no debates there. But I think from a spirit of corps, from a camaraderie perspective, you can't beat the Marine Corps.
So my son-in-law is a cop, and his dad's a fireman, and we got a lot of cops in my family. But with the fireman police dynamic, I say, you know what firemen and policemen have in common? They both wanted to be firemen. So my son-in-law, yeah. So one of my favorite memes is, it says, every veteran wanted to be in the Air Force, but ASVAB. So that usually shuts them up, or at least buys me a little time to make my exit. Oh man! So you're out in DC. Oh, go ahead.
Well, my joke all the time per se was, and the Air Force did it right. When the Air Force builds a new base, you think the first thing they would lay down would be the runway, but no, first thing they lay down is a golf course, right?
Golf course, then the clubhouse, then we go back and get funding for runways, airplanes.
Yeah. I've been in sales, you and I have both been in sales for a while. I used to sell to the federal government. I used to, go to a base and, I'd sell $100,000, $200,000 software solutions. But I would go into an Air Force base and see a plane take off and be like, wow, the fuel cost on that one plane for that one sortie is my entire, that would make my day.
Oh. Dude,
it's crazy.
I just saw something interesting. It showed like a big fuel storage container, and it was big, and it was like 63,000 gallons, and it said that's how much is in a 747. People were like, "What?" And then this guy showed the comparison. 747 is huge, but people don't realize how it's all dispersed in the wings and even in the tail. And it's just the physics behind that. I don't know how ships float and how planes fly. I mean, I know the math, but I still don't know how it happens.
Yeah.
You see them, it's like, that is amazing, what they can do. But
Yep. The amount of fuel that the Air Force goes through is just astronomical.
Oh man,
fuel costs and things like that. But anyway, for anybody listening on the podcast, the military is I think it's a phenomenal program. I'm sure we both got a lot out of it.
Yeah. For sure.
I'm an advocate for it for any young person. It's a great avenue to go. But I do say, you were in the Air Force, I was in the Marine Corps. If you really want to see action, join the Coast Guard. It's by far, I think, the individuals that see the most action out there.
Well, people don't realize the Coast Guard gets deployed, huh?
Yeah.
They go all over. And the guy I do jiu-jitsu with, he's in the Coast Guard, and he is pretty active. So, but we still bust each other's chops.
Yeah.
Oh man. So you've been at this a while. You're the CRO of what? KnowledgeNet.ai?
That's correct. Yep. We're a startup in that knowledge space. We're really focused on relationship intelligence. So Wes, I'm sure you're a LinkedIn user. And we'd like to say, we turn LinkedIn on, we put steroids on LinkedIn. And so what you can get out of our platform. So actually my background started, I was a little bit after you. So I was in the military right before 9/11 and but then joined the U.S. intelligence community right after 9/11. And there was a tremendous amount of money spent in leveraging technology and AI to go find the bad guys. So Wes, have you seen those like link analysis charts where it's like so-and-so is connected to so-and-so who's connected to so-and-so and things like that?
Sure.
And the way that we caught a lot of the Al-Qaeda guys was not directly, but indirectly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, who are they talking to and who are talking to them? And if you start connecting those dots, you can find the bad guys, right?
Yeah.
So in the sales world, it's really, think about it, it's the exact same thing, but we're not finding the bad guys. We're trying to get introductions to the people we want to help sell to. So it's all about, your first degree, your second degree, but not just you, but the rest of your team's network. And how can you effectively leverage that to open up doors? So I've been at this AI space for a while. Yep. So over the course of my sales career, left the Intel space, got into the commercial sector, but took a lot of those tools with me. And that resulted in our startup that we started a few years ago called KnowledgeNet.
So how long are you a startup? Because it says you've been there 5 years. I would guess after 5 years, you're growing up.
Yeah, so there's a couple of pivots along the way.
Okay.
So our founder started the company with more of leveraging it as a private network for individuals, kind of like a Facebook or a LinkedIn, just for your private internal network, no ads, etc. And then from there, we pivoted to saying, you know what, the business world could really leverage the same technology. So how can we empower business professionals to better leverage their network to help open up doors? So our pivot to KnowledgeNet was actually about 3 years ago.
Well, and that's a good point, right? You start out with an idea, and I always tell people you can't steer a parked car, right? You got to get going. And then you think you're going to do one thing, but the market says something else, right? Like this, was it Napoleon or Patton or one of those guys, right? No engagement survives, no planning survives contact with the enemy, but you still plan, right? So you thought you're going one way, market gives you different feedback. So
no, you're spot on. I mean, actually, you look at a lot of the most successful technology companies out there today. They did not start out as what they did. So I believe like YouTube actually started out as like a dating platform.
Really?
And it's about like sharing videos about yourself, etc. And then pivoted to where they are today.
I don't think I knew that.
Like Amazon started out as obviously just for books and things like that, but now it's just a completely different platform than it is today. So yeah, you look at a lot of the tech companies out there today, it's very different from where they started.
Yeah.
But to your point, yeah, it's all about shifting through market conditions, seeing what's working, what's not, and then going from there.
Yeah. Were you with them from the beginning?
I wasn't with them with their personal network piece of things. I actually was a sales consultant for them at the time, but not full time.
Yep.
And then helped them with their pivot, and then joined them full time once they did that pivot.
Nice.
And that pivot actually came out of a private equity company that the managing partner of the private equity company was managing several $1 billion worth of assets under management. But even when you're managing a couple billion, you can kind of still know, okay, I know personally all the CEOs of the portfolio companies. I know what's going on. I can get a handle of things. But once you start getting into the $6-7 billion assets under management, you start saying, wait a minute, who do I know? Who do I know that I'm connected to, et cetera? So this managing partner invested in us to say, I need to better leverage my network, my team's network, my LinkedIn network, in order to take our company to the next level. And so we were actually a kind of a spin-off of that idea.
Yeah, I've seen a couple platforms trying to do this because there's value. Like if I look at my own LinkedIn, I don't know, I've been on LinkedIn almost from day one. I got an email from them a year or two ago. I think I was like within the first 100,000 users. And where do we see? Manage my network, 18,000 connections, 9,600 contacts, followers, 20,006 followers. I don't know how to mine all that data. There's a lot of value in there, right?
No, not only that, but you don't know how to mine it. But then how do your customers leverage your network, right? How do your clients, when you're consulting with people, and how you've got, if you were to put a value on that, let's say it's a $3 million value of the network that you have, right? Whatever it is, $100 million value. You go to one of your clients and you're like, I'm a sales coach, I'm a consultant, et cetera. But by teaming up with me, you're able to leverage my network because we can compare your pipeline with the contacts I have with my network. And I can use that to help open up doors. that's of invaluable capability. So once you start looking at how to better leverage that, it's transformative.
Yeah.
Once you start overlaying AI on top of that, it gets really exciting.
When do things get creepy though? Right? Like if I reach out to you and go, "Hey, Nick, I know you like puppies and sunsets and walks on the beach." And you're like, "How the hell do you know all this?" Right? I know in third grade you skinned your knee on a bicycle, like from some story you shared, on Facebook or in your, high school reunion page, or like how much information is too much information?
Yep. No, that's a great point. I think the one is we're not going to go into, your puppy's name, and we're not going to get that information, right? But we do have a much more detailed understanding about who you are, your connections, who you're trying to go after. And it's empowering that person with that knowledge to help close the deal. Now, you're going to be an idiot if you just reach out to the customer and says, yeah, I know all this information about you, right? But using that as knowledge to help you accomplish your mission, right? So I'm going to go into military speak here. But it's all about, you said you were as a meteorologist, you were connected to the intel community, right?
Sure.
And it's all about leveraging that knowledge to put the pilot, to give them the information they need to accomplish their mission. That's the exact same thing we're doing from a sales professional. We're giving them that intelligence to surface knowledge to help them close those deals. And we're sifting through, so much more than when you think about from that perspective. As a sales coach, Wes, I'm sure you coach people on how to prepare for a meeting. So
Sure.
what would be, things that you would recommend a sales rep do ahead of time to get ready for a meeting?
Oh man. Well, do their research. Know who's who in the zoo, right? Can you build out a hierarchy, an org chart? Who's got influence? Who's a champion? Who's maybe somebody you don't know? And keep digging. What's happening? Are there layoffs? Are they hiring? Are they hitting numbers? Missing numbers? Signing new contracts? I mean, as much as possible.
Yep. And everything you just said, does that sound like intelligence work? A research analyst doing their work before you pick up the phone or before you go into that meeting? So if the person going into that meeting is like a fighter pilot about to accomplish a mission, you want to arm them ahead.
Hey, you there?
Yeah, but I know this also.
No, I got you.
I also have done that through, but I'll keep call them.
Yeah.
But as far as accomplishing this, and it's all about gathering that information. So imagine having, from an AI perspective, how can you automate that entire process to find out who am I connected to the organization? Do I know that person? The CEO interacted with that person's boss. What's the latest news? Are they going to layoffs? Are they active on social media? Or are they communicating on social media? Or case studies? Whatever pain points? How is my company aligning on my value to their pain points? And packaging all of that information and knowledge and making that perspective a little bit better. This is sales right back to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of what where I think the industry is going from an AI perspective. The first thing one of their things to plug in earlier that's a little freaky regarding a lot of information that you can gather. I do still think the students could have done all that research themselves, but we just accelerated automating that process.
Yeah. Well, then does it become a situation of, is the human ready for it? Right? Like, you remember the movie Aliens, and they had the exoskeleton, right? Just to lift and move boxes. But I mean, you see other movies where they can, become a super soldier. And it's like, you give someone untrained too much power. With great power comes great responsibility. I mean, can you give too much info to these reps and then they're just bogged down? Or how do they sort through all of it to find the nuggets? Because AI can spit out a lot of data fast, and then do they have the was it EQ, emotional quotient, to know when to mention puppies and walks on the park, on the beach, and maybe leave out that info?
That's sorry. I would rate happens for responsibilities later of saying it. I like to say, that's up to your sales manager and your leadership to get the right people in it, to do the right job. So the technology is there, and it's all about hiring the right people to leverage the technology to be as productive as possible. I'll go back to the analogy that we were talking about earlier, the military and things like that. And you're only to put a call to person in an hot day. An F-35 pilot is going to be a highly qualified individual to execute the mission. And I view sales professionals to be the same way. So you need to hire the right team to take advantage of that. But the technology is advancing so fast right now that if you're not actively looking at it and employing it, you're going to be way behind the power curve from doing most of your knowledge. One thing I think is really, really important, like we're getting this very military is, the AI is not replacing the pilot in the F-35, right? The AI is, and I'm using the term augmented intelligence, not artificial intelligence.
Okay.
It's all about augmenting the human. It's about augmenting the sales professional to be more efficient and effective. That's all. A sales rep used to have a quota of $1 million back in 1990. Today they have a $2 million quota. Right? They don't have any more quotas. And it's much more than just inflation. We're expecting more out of our sales reps to be able to close higher, close more. The old days was, payphones, right? It was manually dialing. It was, it didn't have GPS. You didn't need that. So, but now through, sequencing, LinkedIn sequencing, through automation, you're expecting a much higher throughput for a sales professional.
Mm-hmm.
And AI is going to help you accelerate that process for a sales professional, but not replace them and augment them. The excess skeleton example you gave. All about, taking the human out of the equation, you're just part of it.
So how are people leveraging this? Are you coaching them on it? Like on cadences, when to call versus email versus direct mail? Are you simply providing them this pipeline of data, the ability to collect it, and then they got to use their brains, on how best to use it?
Yeah, so the thing that we developed, and there's several similar out there. We developed a platform that augments your Salesforce, your CRM, whether it's Salesforce, HubSpot, or whatever. Also in LinkedIn, so you can leverage our technology while you're in LinkedIn. And in your email. So wherever your sales professional lives, our platform is there as well. So it's a co-pilot or an assistant to the sales rep to help them get ready for a meeting, or as they're engaging with a client, or they're following up from a meeting, etc. So like a meeting prep assistant, or coaching them through the meeting. And then we also provide it as a service. So automated sequencing, on our behalf, etc.
Nice.
And then as what progress yourself, like do you prescribe a certain sales methodology, like sales selling, or customer centric selling, or the West selling model?
Yes to all the above. I mean, I've gone through all of the top programs, and then kind of just put my own spin on it. There's nothing new under the sun, right? But I help them. I say, like, I help with human to human sales. Help them take all of that and apply it when appropriate. Spin. I remember first reading Spin, golly, in 2000. I was a recruiter for a short time and ran across Spin selling. But like I've had Jill Conrath on the show, and Anthony Parinello, selling the Vito, and Tom Hopkins, right, how to master the art of the sale. I mean, all these legends, and they've all influenced me to some degree or another. And but I've used CRMs. I embrace it as a sales rep. I've wrote a book on Infusionsoft. I've used technology from the beginning, right? But I've always had the human side to it. So maybe that's what makes me different. Because I think now, more than ever, it's being lost. I mean, the amount of spam, auto-generated spam that I get, and the techniques, rotate your phone number every hour, this one guy I just unsubscribed from because he used like 4 different email addresses, John Smith or Jordan Smith, and 4 different related but different domains. So I knew he was just cold emailing me, never used my name. It was always, hi, the Sales Podcast team, and never got back to me. And I just lit him up and blocked him, blocked all of his emails. And he had sent me a couple of good folks to be on the show, but like he wouldn't engage with me as a human. So I'm telling people now, I think the zig now is to be human while everybody zags and becomes artificial.
So you're basically our business model. So it's leverage your network to open up doors. You know, like I have had companies, the first thing I ask them is, give me a list of your customers, you're really having customers. And we'll come out and we'll tell you who they're connected to that fit your ideal customer profile.
Mhm.
You know, so instead of going sit down and saying, hey, could you give me a reference to, you know, like, can you recommend me to 2 or 3 people? Just reverse a little bit and say, hey, I noticed that you're connected to Acme4 and Exxon or whatever company. Connected to these individuals, which you might give any introduction to those individuals, but they're very human-based contact. So there's so many studies out there that cold calling is dead, which I would agree with. That these
I disagree, but I digress.
Okay, but I think getting at the phone and pulling someone out of the loop is dead. Pulling someone as a human connection and saying, hey, I see that you're connected to Wes. Wes and I do this on a podcast. I must recommend that we connect inside of a few minutes of your time. Using that as your opening line is so much more effective than just dialing 100 people a day. I've had all the stats, even myself, I've got all the rumors. You call 100 phone numbers a day that just pure cold calling without any context behind it. You're lucky if you're going to get process.
Well, that's the differentiator. I don't think in the modern era, if you have half a brain, there's anything. I don't think there is such a thing as cold calling. I mean, I'm not just spinning a dial. Oh, there's a phone number. Let me call it and see who answers. I mean, I'm narrowing the search. I'm calling VPs of sales, you know, CROs, founders of tech companies, of you know, agencies of a certain size. So, I mean, it's not a blind call. And I know how to open. I know I'm stacking the odds in my favor, right? I know the challenges that they're probably faced with. I know they're not getting many calls. I know the calls that they get are crap. So, but I mean, that's how I would define a cold call, you know, but it's the only thing it has in common with past cold calls that it's unexpected. But I tell people all the time, the only difference between a cold call and a referral really is the opening 30 seconds. Because even though somebody goes, oh, Joe referred, okay, I mean, so they'll listen, but if you don't have a good value proposition, if you can't deliver it, if you can't engage them quickly, they're still going to, oh, thanks, you know what, we're kind of busy. Can you send me some info? You know, we'll be in touch. So you still got to know how to engage that person, even though there's a connection.
I completely agree with you. The first 30 seconds, that's all about the first 30 seconds. Right?
Yeah.
With the exception of if you can get them prepared ahead of time and you're reaching out to them,
sure,
it makes all the difference. Right?
Sure.
So, like, I'm gonna be reaching out to you tomorrow. I will refer to you MS. I really appreciate your time. That's in my experience. That's the way to do it. Now, I had people on my team that make cold calls. Right? We get maybe a 1% carry, right? But I mean, I don't know what you are. If you're making calls, are you making 100 calls a day? Like, how many calls are you making a day?
I don't make that many anymore, but yeah, 20 to 50.
Right. And I mean, you spending then are you getting about what's your good rate? Just like you're getting
much higher than 1%. But it's targeted. I've done this for almost 30 years, you know, so I know how to open. I know how to engage. You know, a lot of it is unspoken, right? It's the tonality, it's the pace, it's the calm, it's the confidence that the prospect understands and just can pick up. And it's also, again, because over these years, it's like I tell people, like in jiu-jitsu, I have a plan. I have a plan of attack, but, the opponent has a say-so, right? But after 7.5 years, I can adjust my attack based on how they attack or how they counter my attack. So it's a counter to the counter to the counter. So when somebody answers the phone, I literally adjust how I engage them based on how they answer the phone. And that just comes through time, through repetition. But I'm hitting them with an email, with social media connections and engagement, a voicemail, a sequence, and much more rapid fire than, a 3 or 5 or 7 day, wait in between calls. But again, it's different. I don't get good calls. People leave crap messages. They sound bad on the phone. And when somebody is decent on the phone, last week I gave a guy the time of day and we might do something. He was the one in the million, literally the last 6 months that was any good on the phone.
So with wherever you said, and I am to the audience, I am not saying not people should not, people absolutely should be going and calling. It's the research they're doing ahead of time. And because I think what we will both agree with is getting some kid, 22 years old, 9 a.m., and he's the one that's making 100 calls a day is not realistic and not the way to do it. That's my perspective. And what kills me is seeing companies where they have a sales team. That sales team has a finished average experience of 20 plus years in the industry. Right? They are the ones that know how to navigate those calls. But they're instead hiring these 22-year-olds to dial 100 calls a day. And that's what's not effective, right?
Most companies, they have poor sales management. They promote from within. They promote the previous sales leader whose attributes are counterproductive to being a good leader, right? Aggressive, lone wolf, competitive. They've got to nurture someone. They don't give them any real training, show them how to use the P&L, how to be an admin in Salesforce so they can look over everybody's pipeline, right? The salespeople, they're not given good scripts. They're not given good role playing. So they despise all of it, but they're given a big number and just turned loose and say, good luck. So they have no chance unless they have a tool like yours to at least shorten that curve, tell me something to talk about and connect, because otherwise they just call, hey, have you heard of us? Hey, is now a good time? Oh, they're going to die. They're going to wither on the vine. That's how most companies are. That's why most of them struggle.
Yeah, and I'm the factor that myself. Yeah. Congratulations. And I'm on my team, 0 training. Now, fortunately, I had professional leadership training from the military, so I had some of that going on.
Yes.
Well, the lead code really wasn't big on empathy, so I had to learn that along the way.
Oh, you don't feel well? Suck it up, Buttercup.
Exactly.
Get them over the head. Wrap the phone cord around them. How do you feel now? Yeah, that's right. I'll unwind this. Then you start talking.
That's right. So the concept of time off and what? It's supposed to so.
I don't feel very fulfilled today. Why don't you fill that sandbag? Why don't you fill your quota? Why don't you fill your pipeline, son?
Yeah. I feel empathy along the way, but I was one of those, right? Top performing sales professional. All of a sudden, I'm a manager. All of a sudden, I'm leading North American sales. And all of a sudden, we get acquired. Now I got a key for the other $1 million+, etc. Right? So, and then you kind of learn along the way. But you're, and it's not the same story. Almost every single day is the same. But that attitude, and you've got these people that have 20 plus years of experience. Most people that have 20 plus years of experience, the last thing they want to do is pick up the phone and do a call.
Yeah.
And so that's why they hire these young kids out of college to do a cold calling, and then you just snap crap results. So what I'm advocating for is one is automating the process of doing all that rich research, all that intel community stuff that you and I are kind of like involved in. Give that to the sales professional ahead of the meeting. Cover all of the opportunities, and also recommend top of funnel companies to go after companies like people. That's huge.
Yeah.
And what's incredible is there's so much. But if you go to your customer base over a 10-year period, how many of those champions have moved to other companies? Yeah, I mean, there's just a godly amount of knowledge out there buried in the knowledge of your organization that you can harness to grow top of funnel.
Yeah.
So that's what we're really excited about, Chief.
Well, and speeding up that research too, because too many people, because they're afraid to pick up the phone, I'm doing research. Like, look, give me 3 minutes. I know all I need to pick up the phone. Just give me a title in an industry, right? I have enough to pick up the phone. Give me 30 seconds to 3 minutes to look the guy up, skim a little bit. Oh, Marine. Oh, DC. Oh, this. Okay. I can drop a few nuggets, let you know, at least I did some research. This isn't truly cold, right? I did a little research. Here's the reason I'm reaching out. Here's some similarities. Here's some folks in the DC area, in the contractor space, something, other CROs that I've helped, blah, blah, blah. Does it make sense to continue this conversation? So at least there's something, but most people don't even do that. So if you can put that at my fingertips, and then guys develop a little bit of a cadence, learn how to, while the phone's dialing, okay, let me real quick. Like, okay, I see that, boom, and they answer. Okay, I can use my cues. It's a little bit like an open mic night in a way, right? Or at least, but like people don't realize, like Saturday Night Live, they're holding big signs, written in Sharpies right over on the side. They've got all their lines, and they can go with it. And but it's live, so it's not totally polished. People don't mind them looking over, looking away, getting their cue card and coming back. But on a call, if that's just in front of you and you get in that habit, you can get good, you can get fast. Doing this on the fly, because that's what sales is, right? We don't have a safety net.
And another thing also from a perspective, I was really into enterprise sales. So we're talking about $10,000-$20,000 deals all the way up to $7 million deals, right? One thing I always do with my sales reps, you're there to solve a problem for us, right? Your job is not to sell our products or services, it's to help them. So find out what's the mission of the organization you're selling to? How do you align what we're selling to their mission to help them accomplish our mission? Identify the key objectives that business or that individual has in order to align, again, that message behind it.
Sure.
So, sales rep get lazy over time. I see studies that after about 18 months, the sales rep thinks he's heard everything he's ever endured from a customer. So he's just been regurgitating what he's first line doing with us, right? But that's another piece that AI helps as far as like the meeting prep. It's to say that we did the automated process, we did the research, we found out what the mission of the organization is, what they're saying in the news, what they're saying in social media. Make sure you clarify that these are the objectives of the organization is doing, and then how you're going to help them accomplish that mission.
Yeah.
But then, professionalizing the sales process, openness, augmenting intelligence, augmenting that individual exoskeleton, so that now that sales rep can close your business faster than did before.
Right. Well, I think Zig Ziglar said it best, right? You can get whatever you want if you help enough people get what they want. Because we can't control if the prospect buys. All we can do is control ourselves, get enough at bats, put ourselves in front of people, use the, stack the odds in our favor. Like the last sales job that I had, it was with a startup out of Austin, and that's what got me to California. And we sold, it was $50,000 to $100,000 computer systems, and healthcare, financial services, manufacturing, military, and healthcare was kind of the niche I fell into. I inherited a healthcare account and then just leveraged that and expanded. So I couldn't force these people to buy from me. But again, going back to like, what's a cold call? If I got a big healthcare network in Phoenix, then I call a healthcare network in Redlands, which I did. Reach the CIO. Hey, we're doing work with John C. Lincoln Memorial out in Phoenix. Increasing uptime, assisting with HIPAA compliance, reducing the impact of theft, blah, blah, blah. Are you grappling with any of those issues? Yeah, all of them. But this is almost 20 years ago. Well, it's 20 years ago when I started. And so we didn't have all this, all the data we have now. But by knowing how a current client, current job title, current industry, I could easily overlap that. I know just by definition, if a CIO at a hospital has these 5 problems, every CIO in healthcare has those same problems, right? I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. So can I get enough at bats and just say, and just verify, do you have these problems? And granted, they're not calling me. So they either don't think they have the problem or they do, and it hasn't raised its ugly head yet, So our job is to kind of scratch that itch, kind of poke the bears. Is this an issue? Because we all have issues. It's like, we're just prioritizing, like, which one hurts the most? Is it my feet? Is it my back? Is it my neck? What is the underlying reason for that pain? And then
the way you just phrase that is the way that I ask my sellers to phrase things, which is, I've heard this, or one of the customers I have this problem, or I'm seeing that same problem in your industry, your hub, right? It's a very consultative approach to solve, right?
Yeah.
But you were using your referrals for that. You were leveraging your networks, leveraging your series to do that.
Well, I used a referral when I could, but I didn't get all that many. I was just deductive reasoning, right? I would name drop,
exactly,
and they wouldn't even necessarily know that name. A hospital in California wouldn't know a hospital in Phoenix, But I would mention the name to kind of credentialize myself, so they could Google it and go, "Oh, that is a real hospital. I do see the CIO there." So they would logically and correctly conclude. I mean, I could be lying, but I mean, they're like, a guy's not going to give those kind of specifics that you can verify and lie about it. So I go, okay, wow, he's because I would always say specifics sell. So, hey, I'm working with the CIO over at John C. Lincoln Memorial. They've got 2 hospitals in the greater Phoenix area. We've helped them, boom, boom, boom. So when you rattle that off very confidently, they're like, okay, this guy seems legit. And that's all I want. So that was that opening 30 seconds, right? Now you have an issue. So I wish I had more referrals, back then. But being so specific and solving such specific needs so well, made it, a relatively easy sale. I mean, we were still 3x what they were using, but we were 10x the value. So
Wes, you're a high performance sales professional, right? The way and what you just did is exactly what every one of my top sales professionals, and that's what makes them top. Right? How do you follow that? And this is where AI comes in. How do you follow that?
Yeah.
So that a new person coming in on a team, they're not biting you, right? If they're able to leverage that same knowledge going into the next call, that's that exoskeleton assistance.
Yes.
Where I is stepping in.
For sure. Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's cool. You still got to force them to pick up the phone.
Yes.
Sales reps will still find an excuse to not make that call.
Yes. Yeah. Listen, a lot of times because it's a difference between a completely raw toll, like very little value proposition. Sales reps were just told, hey, I work with a lot of copier manufacturers. Years ago, Xerox, Ricoh, etc. Right? Yep. And then you do a lot of 20-year-olds, and it was throwing tools. It was just like, okay, just throw out one. And they're just dialing and saying, "Do you need a copy?" Right? That's the worst whole collect.
Yes.
Right. But in your case, who's the CIO? What's the hospital? What's their budget? Are they rolling out a new, network system, or are they, moving to, are they using Epic or, whatever it is, right? It's fun information to Epic, so that I call isn't cool. It's, to your point now, it's well researched, and well researched in that it's automated for you, and you stuff it all, and your fingertips so that you can have a much more intelligent conversation.
Yeah.
With the phone.
Yeah. And I mean, I've got your website pulled up. So knowledgenet.ai, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And I mean, super affordable. You got month-to-month options. You get a demo. So you don't do a trial, right? But they can get a demo and then do month-to-month. They want to test it out.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we started it off about $50 a month, $50 to $70 a month. And you can reach out to us. We're happy to do you a demo to you set up. And it's all about leveraging your institutional knowledge. So you can be a team of one. Like a lot of times I meet with people a year from now. I may say that I don't know about them, but we help always connect the dots, leverage that knowledge, helping with the preps, helping with closing. And then from there we can get customers outside to use this.
Yeah. So it plugs in, integrates with Salesforce, HubSpot, Pipedrive, Keep,
Every
bunch of
single
them.
one.
Yeah.
Especially if you're familiar with Zapier or any area.
Yeah, sure. So that 59, so it gets them certain number of credits, right? So that if they're a power user, they can add more. Do they need like Sales Navigator or other tools like that, or can they just use like the free version of LinkedIn and your tool and start getting value?
Yeah, you can just use the free version of LinkedIn. And a lot of customers, who are paying for Sales Navigator, that's a Sales Navigator that pays like $1,000 a year plus.
Something like that, yeah.
If you're not a current user of Sales Navigator, we're great. I'm not going to compete with it, but we have a lot of customers that say, well, your tool does more than enough. I don't need Sales Navigator plus your tool.
Nice. Yeah. That's a value prop right there, huh?
And then, but we're also about playing a back role about helping you solve your mission. So we're double focused about that. So
yeah,
we love helping customers and saying, "Hey, what do you want to get out of this? How can we help you? You're trying to write about top of funnel. You're trying to improve your sales team. You're trying for your pipeline. Whatever it is, we're here to help out."
Does this do like data enrichment? Like, will it pull in, social media links for somebody or phone numbers?
Yep, we do that as well. So I was the top performing developers, and I was the worst person at getting SQL. I am totally guilty of not being. In fact, my focus was always on salt. It wasn't on updating my CRM. I am guilty of the day before the pipeline call, updating all my opportunities. And not living in my CRM. And so I think over the last 20 years, sales reps have had more and more administrative duties to do. So as the person and the startup, we just wanted to make sales as easy as possible, take the administrative stuff out. So we automate updating CRMs, we automate helping you with your CRM activity, we automate creating contacts and opportunities in your CRM. We want you to focus on that human aspect that you're talking about. That's really what's valuable is you as out of the client. That's what we want you to be.
Man, I'm helping a client right now, and this may be the last time I work with someone where I let them make me a user in their system. Dude, it took 2 weeks to get set up, and the process is internally. I stopped doing it. I'm like we have to have a call. I said, this is the most complex thing I've ever seen in my life. Call dispositions, and you'll have 18 of them, but I only use these 2, the others aren't connected, or the cadence won't go. We got to select this and then that, and then save it, and confirm stage. Like, no wonder your salespeople aren't selling. It's like, you're paying me and I don't want to use this tool. It's like no. So you got to make it simple. I mean, and look, some of it, the sales reps need to do some work. Right. They got to take some ownership. But when you make it that damn hard, having tools, click, boom, data pulls up, boom, links pull up, boom, import it into the CRM, bam, I can click that button and call. All right, the data's in front of me. I'm much more likely to get after it because we just have to eliminate excuses, right? So then the salesperson, you say, what excuse? Why did you not meet your number now? Because I gave you every tool you needed, right? So that is how we have to do things, unfortunately, because all humans are lazy and salespeople are especially lazy.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Like Trey felt well, I always, the 6 second thing on the ring for. I look at salespeople and a really good salesperson is sitting on a smart singular guy.
sure.
They have to know finance, they have to know psychology. I always say, if I explain selling, I'm one of that song is an emotional line that you back it up with logical reasoning. But at the end of the day, you have to figure out an emotional, you're making their customers like you, you're better, whatever, right? Anyway, yeah, so salespeople, they have to do so much.
Yep.
And if you're paying the salesperson that didn't need to get a secretary to enter in audiences deals in their CRM system, like there's no way.
Yep.
And let's use technology to help the salesperson grow the business, not to help manage that it's all about.
Yeah. Amen. All right, Marine. Nick Caruso, knowledgenet.ai, man. Thanks for coming on the show and sharing some words of wisdom.
Well, it's very funny. Well, I wrote it.
Hey, man, have a great day.
Yeah.